Hello everyone. This is my fourth attempt to record this video. For some reason, it's not working. I think maybe I speak too much. So this is my last attempt. I hope this is gonna go right this time. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to comment on this week readings. Especially there was a couple of questions that were addressed by Veronica in the initial post for this week reading, where she talked about the sex scandal that happened in Haiti by the UN peacekeepers. And I think there was a sentence where she said, like, humanitarian mission implies position of power since they are directed to the vulnerable. So I think that's usually how people view that, and that's why I think most of us have been sort of like socialized to view that. But I think it's a wrong way to look at it, because when you put yourself as some kind of in a superior position than somebody else, then you kind of you're missing the mark, in a sense that, like, you kind of dehumanize that person that you're trying to help, because you don't think that person can have something to offer to you, even from their position of vulnerability, which is, again, to me, it's very problematic. So I would like to also mention that there were two big scandals, that happened with the UN peacekeeping mission in Haiti. First, there was the sex scandal, sex abuse scandal, with the peacekeepers, where the soldiers would pay young girls from the age of 11 to 14 years old, money to have sex with them, and sometimes they would rape them. So you can imagine the many violations that happen. So having sex with underage, children, and without protection, and impregnating them or raping them. So it's like a multiple, connection, multiple violation that happened there. But now, after they left, they did not provided any support to the families or to the girls themselves, because they were children. It said that the UN said that they were trying to work to provide assistance to the families, but again, I haven't read anything that sort of confirmed that. Yes, and also preceding that sex scandal, there was also a big cholera outbreak, which was caused by the UN soldiers, especially coming from Nepal. So there was prior to the UN peacekeeping mission in Haiti. I mean, especially the Nepali soldiers who went there. There was a big cholera outbreak in Nepal, and then some Nepali soldiers who went there were staying at a particular base. I forgot the name of the town where they were, and then there was a river next to that base, and they were dumping their waste into that river, while people in that community have always been using the water from that river to cook, to shower, to do everything. So then the cholera outbreak happened, and 10,000 people lost their life. 10,000 Haitians lost their life. And it took the UN about 6 years to admit any wrongdoing. So imagine you had advocates, you have a Haitian official, trying to complain to the UN, trying to bring their attention. Something is happening. And finally, after a lot of pressure, it took them 6 years for the UN to admit that there was a wrongdoing by those soldiers, in relation to the cholera outbreak. So you see, it's humanitarian work is not as simple as we want them to believe. It's not just like, oh my gosh, these people need help, so let's go and help them, because there's a lot of other politics around. But I think the main problem is that mindset, that top bottom mindset. No, yeah, top down mindset, meaning, if I'm the one in the position of sort of power, I'm coming to help you, then you must do as I told. Then you have no way. I have nothing to help to learn from you. I can do whatever I want, and then nobody can hold me accountable. And I think that's what needs to change. Those people, whether you're in power or not, you have to be. Those people need to be, those people, those institutions, those entities need to be held accountable. And I think us as future practitioners, in this field, education and emergencies, that's what we need to figure out, how to hold those people accountable, not just by, like, submitting complaints and then trying to write policies and stuff like that. But again, because I know mistakes are gonna be made, those violations are gonna be made because the violation has been systemic. Because there's a lot of the structure of this organization are broken, or at least partially, if not fully. But we need to find ways to hold those organizations, those entities accountable, especially after any major violation I've committed. Holding them accountable and making we need to make alliance with their partners, because when you leverage, especially alliances from major players, major donors, it's a lot easier to hold an entity like the UN, accountable, saying, what, if you do not do the right thing, there will be consequences. It's the same thing, right now we're trying to do with the police brutality against people of color. I mean, systemic racism, because a lot of people, since it's so systemic, since it's part of this society, to treat people of color, black folks, as second class citizens. The way the police patrol in black communities and communities of color is not the same way they patrol in white communities. They see white civilians as their partners, as their counterpart. But then when they go to black communities, or communities of color, they see them as second class citizens, are less than human. But now we've seen, thanks to iPhone, now we're able to videotape, whatever is happening, whatever violation or aggression that's happening. And then now with the public outcry, now with boycotting, now with public protests, we see how we are holding those folks accountable, and now we start seeing some changes. And I think that's the best way to go, by holding them accountable until we can change the mindset, we can change the policies, we can change the structure, because it's going to take a long time before we are able to do all of that. But I think from the beginning, we need to use our education, we need to use our or savviness, or experience and passion, to find ways to hold those people accountable, and make sure also to empower the people in need. Because the more you empower someone, the more they'll know that, what, I don't have to put up with this, I don't have to stand with this, and then I can find other ways, to help myself or help my people. I think that's all for now, and I hope this video I'll be able to upload it for real, for good. Thanks guys, have a great weekend and have a great class. Okay, thank you, bye bye.